Hey, this is Wileen Benson, and you are on the Daily Gratitude Call, where we start every day in gratitude. Gratitude is the highest energy state that we can be in. It creates a frequency of positive vibration that attracts positive experiences into our lives. Hey everybody, this is Wileen Benson. This is our Daily Gratitude Call. Thank you for joining our call today. I'm excited to have so many here on live and just, from the rounds of gratitude that were happening before we started our recording, I know that there are some people here who are needing just some extra support, and I'm just so grateful that you choose to join us here on the Gratitude Call on a daily basis. And regardless of what's happening in your life, if your life is amazing and you're just like feeling like you're flying along your path, that is a great time to be here, because then you can be this wonderful support to other people. And if you're going through something that's difficult right now, this is a great place to be, to feel that uplifting spirit of gratitude. I was just really touched before we started the recording of one of our participants who's going through a difficult time right now. And another participant, in fact, they were the first two that were on the call. So it was before anybody else even got here, which was so perfect, which always is so perfect. The right people are always here. And the one who was going through the feeling of trauma and loss right now was supported by another person who had had a very similar experience. Not exactly the same, but very similar type of feeling of loss. And she was able to support the other person in such a beautiful way that only she could, because she totally understood it. And I'm just like so blessed to be a part of this community where there is that open sharing and just a feeling of charity and love always. So I'm just like super grateful for all of you who are here. We've got a couple new people that are joining us, and so I just want to welcome you guys too, those who just joined us, and also those who are listening on the podcast. Thank you for being here. We're going to go ahead and start our private meditation, our private silent meditation, 90 seconds. And the word that came to me was pinpointing. And I think actually someone mentioned that, maybe it was Colleen. Yes, like pinpointing the exact things that are needed. And she also mentioned the word exactness. And anyway, that just was kind of a feeling that I had, that there's like the perfect things, like specifically. Anyway, that's all I'm going to say. So 90-second private silent meditation on gratitude for pinpointing. And we'll see where that takes us. So just write down whatever inspiration comes to you during this 90 seconds, gratitude for pinpointing, and then we'll share. Begin. right. I'm just going to write this last thought down. Okay. I love it when I know the one thing. It's like, yes, there's no uncertainty. And I don't even care what the response is. Like, I don't even care what anybody else says. It's like, this is it. This is where we are going. Yes, that. It's like the best feeling in the world. And it just feels so right and good. And it's not only just the direction or like the next step, or sometimes it's the next step when I feel that way, but it's like you feel like this certainty of the destination, even. And still, doesn't even matter like how I get there, but it's just, yes, that's what we're doing. That's where we're going. And I felt that a lot lately. And I'm just like super grateful. It's just like the most amazing feeling to have that confidence and that clarity. Who else has something they would like to share? Bill?
Yeah, what like came right super clear to me was like when you put a pinpoint on a map, or when you drop in, so that people know where you are. Because when you have a destination picked out, then it's like there's no worry about how to get there, because you just can already know. You can look at your map and you can say, well, and you can put it in your head and you can just start going there. It reminded me of back in the 40s when they were developing guidance control systems for rockets. And that they realized that they needed to have some way for the rocket to see where it was going. It had to have something in its visions in order for it to reach its destination. And because what would happen is that, as even if they just pointed it like a bullet one direction, it would get close to where it was supposed to go, but it wouldn't really hit what it was trying to hit, and it would go off track, because like forces from the outside would act against it. Or it would push it one way or the other, like wind or like terrain, or the sun even, like all these things would make it so that it would kind of get distracted, as it was going. It would just like end off course. And so they had to find a way to have something to look at, and then when it went out of view, then make a little correction, to be able to go back on track. And so and for us, in our lives, having a destination of where we're trying to go, and dropping a pin on it is a really good way to take the worry out of life. Like you can get back on course. You can make those little adjustments that you need to be able to reach your destination, as long as you have a point of reference to go to. And so that was what just came to me.
I love that. I know I've heard of like pilots that will have to, even if they're on like automatic pilot, there still needs to be some course correction. If you're even off like a half of a millimeter when you start heading out, towards your direction, if you don't keep making those course corrections, you can end up miles away from your destination. So I know, I'm sure with like GPS and dropping a pin on a destination, it's a lot easier to just kind of let it go now. But yeah, that same principle though is at work, that there needs to be those slight course corrections. Sometimes there's detours on a road or sometimes there's an accident, and then that GPS guidance system will say, we found a shorter route for you. You're going to, take this exit and go around that accident or whatever. And how important it is to be flexible and to allow ourselves to, be kind of have those little guidance here and there. I thought of when I was in Scotland, I rented a car and I thought it wouldn't be that big a deal. You're just going to be driving on the wrong side of the road. Like, I'll just know to drive on the wrong side of the road, the left side of the road. And I didn't think it was going to be that big of a deal. But oh my gosh, they gave us the option to get a GPS system in the car. And my daughter's with me and she's like, I'm not driving this car if I don't have a GPS system. And so we paid the little extra to get the GPS system on the car. And I'm so glad we did, because my phone didn't work there. And we seriously would never have made it to our destination if we hadn't had that guidance system, because it was like miles and miles of these just windy, skinny roads with no street signs. And we would have had really no way to know how to get to where we were going. So that guidance system, how powerful that is and important it is for us to listen to that guidance system. Thank you. Melissa, and then Colleen.
I loved what Phil said, because I thought of the same thing. I thought of pins on a map, and I just kind of took a step back and I imagined like the whole world, and just all the pinpoints where, people's lives happen. I was thinking about my life at first, and then I kind of like thought about everyone, how everyone has just different pinpoints on the map, where they live or where they work or where they grocery shop, just different places that have so much meaning to us, and just the places where life happens.
I love that idea. I mean, I can just like, every time you go to the grocery store if put a pin there, how many pins there would be sticking out of that. It's just like a funny visual that I had. I also had the thought, as you're talking about the whole world and the pin, I think of them like points of light where people's lives happen. I remember I would hear on the news or whatever, something happened, an earthquake in whatever, place in the world. And it was like, oh, that's interesting, but I don't know anybody there, and so it's not like as traumatizing as I'm sure it was for the person that was right there in the center of the epicenter of the earthquake. But when I started traveling, when I started going outside of the country, my country and even my state, just there are places that I visited that I have dropped pins, I have like, there's my footprint, my light has actually been there then, and I've met people there that it just makes the world a lot smaller. It brings a more feeling of unity. Like I know people there. And so now, if something happens, it's like I've been there, like my energy has been there. So it's almost like there's this connection there. I love that idea of these points of light and pinpointing where people's lives happen. Thank you. Rachel has in the chat, she put exactness in a massage where you go to the exact place where you're holding memory and stress and invite your body to release it. Our bodies are exact. They listen with exact obedience and reflect our beliefs. Align with truth and your body will obey with exactness. So powerful. Thank you. Colleen.
I am so grateful for this. About 17 years ago, I was in severe trauma with my eyes, and I was having 3 or 4 styes at a time. I could hardly be in front of a fan or go out in the light. My eyes were so hurt and so reactive to every little thing. Everything that happened, was in my environment. It was reacted to my eyes, and it was so hard. And I heard on the news, and it was to use sardine oil for a facelift and around my eyes, because I'd tried so many things, and the doctor told me to use Johnson's baby shampoo, that would clean my eyes and stuff. And it was so bad, and it hurt so bad. And I just heard somebody say, sardine oil is an instant facelift. Well, it looked bad. So I just went downstairs and got a can of sardines. I only had one, and it was in water, and it was so perfect. Within 20 minutes, everything had calmed down around my eyes. All of the styes had left. Wow. And it was so amazing. And I found out later what had caused it was that I was I had gotten some jalapeno juice on my eyes, and it had, because I have ocular rosacea, it was just so reactive and so traumatizing that it took me months to get to that point, but it was such a relief. And last night I was, I haven't used it for a while because my diet is such that I have learned to control it a lot, and so I forget to put sardine oil on it every once in a while, but I notice with my vision that it starts, getting a little dry, and I put some sardine oil on it this morning. I'm sitting there, oh yay, it wasn't the relief that I felt the first time, but that the whole area where you are in such turmoil can be solved with the peace of Christ, with just that one little balm of Gilead, that one little item that, the exercise or the massage or whatever, that one little solution. And there's so much exactness in carrier oils that will solve problems and that your skin is showing up with, but it is all finding peace in Christ. Everything, even my eyes, I know exactly what to do now, but I can go to an area where I can turn it over to the Lord, and he can completely solve the problem, or he can help me just by listening to something that just jars a need in me, and I can just go to that. And I know I can have faith that he will help me through anything and help my kids through anything. And I don't have to worry and fear or get stressed out about anything.
Beautiful. Thank you. I thought of the story of the 10 lepers who Christ healed, and the one leper came back and expressed gratitude. And what you're sharing with me, you could totally give the credit to the sardine oil, or you could give the credit to the newscaster who mentioned that for your healing, but you're giving credit to Christ, who actually created sardines and who created, all the things that we have here on the earth that provide healing for us.
And to tune in and listen to something that just says, oh, try this. And, and you can go there, and you don't have to. It's just so peaceful to know that he is guiding all of our steps.
Yeah, awesome. So whether it was that he created the sardine oil, or he created the opportunity for the newscaster to share that, or if he helped you to have one can of sardines in your basement, or whatever it is, it's all things working together for your good. Thank you. Really appreciate those thoughts. Tyree.
I loved how you were sharing about traveling, and I think that it's such a gift how we've been given the ability to travel, and by those pinpoints come as we travel to different places, and now they become each of those places that we travel become important and relevant to us, so that when things happen, or history, or all of those things, it has a pinpoint, it has an anchor to connect to, so that we remember things and we are aware of those places, and so we notice what's happening and what's going on in those places. And I think that is a gift, so that the world does become a smaller place, and so that we feel that worldwide connection, and we feel that ability to join together in whatever Christ calls us to.
Beautiful. I was just this morning in my daily GPS was reading in the scriptures about a prophet that was sent to a particular area. And I just kind of had that feeling as you were talking about, no matter, where God calls us, if we already have some sort of connection with that place, then how much easier it is for us to just follow through. And it might not be a place, it might be a person or a group, or, somewhere that we've had maybe a past connection with, and we're just going back, but with a different some different instruction. Or maybe it is going for the first time and there might be a little bit of fear of, oh, I've never been there before. I don't know how I'm going to be received or whatever. But to really feel the smallness of the world and how we are all unified. I think that's a really good energy to be in whenever we're called to do something. I actually this morning received some of you who are here on the call had thought to reach out to a few people about something specific that was on my heart over the last couple of days. And that really was kind of that same kind of feeling of pinpointing specific places to go, for specific people to reach out to. And with some of the people that I reached out to, it was like, I don't know how this is going to be received. I don't know. I have no idea. I've never talked to this person about this before. So, what are they going to think about me? What are they, are they going to receive it? Whatever. But it was just so easy to do because it was one of those pinpoint, this person came to mind. It's not my text, it's God's text that I'm sending. And I appreciate what you shared, Tyree, about just feeling that worldwide connection and just the peace of going into a place, even if it's unfamiliar territory. Thank you. Mary.
So a few things came to me, and I'll just tell you, read you what I wrote. I am grateful to be able to pinpoint what I need, where I need to be, for pinpointing the root of the problem, for pinpointing what is next. And I'm grateful to be able to discern, and somehow discern and pinpointing just came together. Discern the intentions of others, discernment in general. It occurred to me that that there are, when you're seeking, you will find, and it may not be like immediately. Sometimes it is. Sometimes things come into your life right at the moment that you're praying. So there's a lot of pinpointing going on, and I don't really have that much more to say other than sometimes we don't need to know everything. I like the pinpointing the root of the problem. For me, I always was trying to pinpoint the root of the problem, and I think that just comes but pinpointing what is next is more important to me, because it will lead me to whatever it is I need to know, whatever it needs I need to do or practice or what have you.
Awesome. I think that the key word that you said was seek. You don't have to know where the root of the problem is. You don't have to even know what the next step is. But if you're seeking, then there will be a pinpoint that will show up.
Yes. And I one other thought I had was, you can be going in different directions because you feel like, well, I got to go in this direction. And well, but what was that about? And then, so in the process of moving or going in a direction, you're like Phil said, if you have a place on the map that you're going to, your destination. Sometimes you just know you have to move in a direction, and sometimes that direction only was needed for so far or so long, and then there's another path to take, and it all leads you to the ultimate path, which is returning to our Heavenly Father. But there are reasons or purposes for you being on a certain path, and you may not be able to pinpoint what that is, but just trust it, and eventually it will show itself.
I love that. Yeah, we might not even know the purpose right now of what's going on in our life right now. We might be like, why the heck does this have to be part of my journey? But for some reason, that is the perfect place for us to be, because that's where we're at. So thank you.
Sure.
I appreciate all of that. Thank you. Let's go ahead and take a deep breath and just go ahead and step into a space of whether you have pinpointed your direction, your destination, or if you're in one of those spaces that you're like, I don't know exactly where this is taking me, but I'm just going to trust that because I'm here, this must be part of my journey. This must be the exact perfect place for me to be. So wherever you're at, just drop a pin right there in the moment where you're at, and just be grateful for being on the map, for actually being here, for being allowed to remain for just a little bit longer. And knowing that because you're alive and because you're growing, that there's some place that this is taking you, that is just a stopping off place, and that there is an ultimate destination. And go ahead and take one more deep breath. And maybe just kind of expand your view just a little bit, like scroll out so that your map is magnified a little bit so that you can see farther around you. You can see that little red pinpoint of where you're at, and just allow yourself to see in a wider expanse, maybe from heaven's view, even if you can allow yourself to expand even beyond where you can see details, but just see the bigger picture from God's view. And what can you learn? Just get into that seeking mode, as Mary was talking about. Seeking you shall find. Just seeking what new information you can gather from this particular pinpoint where you're at right now, and seeing things from God's perspective. Maybe look around and see if there is a destination that's coming into view, or maybe a next step, or possibly some limiting beliefs that might be coming up. So whatever you're learning right now, just write those down. And if there are some limiting beliefs that are coming up, let's take care of those right now. Just allow yourself to embrace those limiting beliefs at this time, because at some point they were helpful. They were helped you to survive in some way. And these limiting beliefs were serving you at one point, because we know that that's true because you took them on, you accepted them, you received them as truth, and you decided to hang on to those. And so just ask right now, are they still serving you? And if they're not, then now is an opportunity for you to give yourself permission to choose some new beliefs. So if you're ready to let go of those old limiting beliefs and choose some new ones, say yes.
Yes.
Awesome.
Absolutely. Yes.
Awesome. Thank you. All right. So now that you have made that choice to let go of those limiting beliefs, it's just from that heaven's view, knowing that these limiting beliefs were serving you at some time, at some point in your past, there is a wonderful final resting place for these limiting beliefs. And you get to just allow your imagination to just kind of unfold that process of taking these limiting beliefs to a different, taking them outside of you, outside of your belief system, away from how they have been affecting you in the past, and to put them somewhere else. And wherever that gets to be, you get to choose where that is. And it could be that they get obliterated. It could be that they get placed at Christ's feet. They might get blasted out into the universe to be used however God sees fit, to some perfect way for those limiting beliefs to have a final resting place, so that you no longer have to deal with those. And then replace it with some new beliefs. So 2 to 3 new beliefs that will take the place of that old limiting belief and create some new, better perspective. God's perspective will help you in taking action on your next steps, and arriving at your destination in record time. What are your new beliefs? And since you're seeing things from a higher perspective, you're in God's space now, so you can even invite him to share some words with you if you're having a hard time coming up with those words yourself. And just bring those new beliefs, as have those new beliefs written down, bring those into your awareness, your consciousness, into your new belief system that you're creating for yourself. And these are words that will serve you in continuing forward. And just take a look at that pinpoint where you're at, where you are currently at right now. And what is the one most important thing that you could do today that would take you forward into arriving at your chosen destination or your destiny in the most efficient way possible, with the least amount of stress, the least amount of distractions? It just will allow you to move forward, blinders on, just continuing forward the shortest path possible. What's the one most important thing that you could do today to really anchor in these new beliefs and move forward powerfully, confidently, courageously, audaciously towards your final destination? And in a moment, we're going to be returning back to Earth and to that pinpoint. And just take a moment before you come back and choose the energy or the motivation or the feeling that you are coming back to Earth with, so that as you arrive at that pinpoint, that you're armed with these new beliefs, you know what your next step is, you actually have more confidence in what your destination is, you've seen things from God's perspective. And just put a label on the energy or the motivation or the feeling that you're going to return to Earth, to that pinpoint with, now that you have this new information. All right, and then when you're ready, you can go ahead and return back to Earth, to that pinpoint where you're at, where you have had kind of dropped your pin of where you were. And in a moment, I'm going to open it up for a couple of quick shares. Also want to just offer myself, if there's anybody that's feeling like they need some extra support in moving forward with your journey, I would love to have a conversation with you. Just go to askwylene.com and you can schedule a 15-minute call. Colleen put in the chat, I think all things are to help us have faith and trust in God, especially when we are envisioning trauma and have anxiety. Breathe in God, having the exact solution, and let go. It may take longer than 20 minutes though. And then she's got a big smiley face. Thanks, Colleen. Mary.
Wow. So pinpointing myself right where I am on the map was powerful, just right where I'm at. And my limiting belief was I can't speak my mind. I might make someone uncomfortable or mad. And I've seen where that's shown up really throughout my life, even today, or even not today, but even now, lately. And so I find it interesting that came to me, and I'm glad it did, because again, in business or anywhere, it's like my mom and I were talking recently, and I said, Mom, if you didn't have to worry about hurting someone's feelings, what would you do right now? And she said, I can't, I don't want to ruffle feathers. I'm like, wow, we have the same thing going on. And so I've been able to overcome that a lot, and we were able to share. So my new beliefs are: I speak my mind with clarity and compassion. I speak my mind with kindness and compassion. I speak my mind with truth and joy, and I am true to my purpose.
Wow, beautiful, powerful. Thank you, Mary. I just wanted to mention something about ruffling feathers. This is maybe a new thing that you can envision when you think about ruffling feathers. My husband feeds the bluebirds out just in our backyard. He'll just put peanuts out on the deck railing. And so they're super close and we can see them, close up as they come down to get the peanuts. And they've learned that if they just come and stand on the railing, then Clint will go out and put these peanuts out. He's like, oh, the birds are hungry. I'm going to go put some peanuts out. And so they come out, and in the wintertime, they ruffle their feathers. They shake themselves out to get themselves to keep warm. And so ruffling feathers creates warmth. And I just wanted to share that because maybe this is a different vision that you can embrace about what it means to ruffle feathers. And that's really what it does. I mean, when you break patterns, when you help people to see things from a different perspective, you're going to ruffle feathers, but it really does create, when it's coming across with warmth and charity and love, it's actually, it's a good thing.
It's okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Thanks.
Thank you. Colleen, did you have something else you'd like to add?
Well, I was thinking about the other day that you were talking about employing certain mentors for this and pinpointing exactly what you needed and wanted in your life. And I saw this so much in the past week of going through the trauma of falling and hurting my knee and then hurting my back as a result, and all of the the domino effect of things. But then, to reverse that, it takes a conscious pinpointing of what you need and what you want, and to let go and say, God is my mentor. He knows exactly what I need. He knows exactly how to pinpoint, and I follow him with exactness and honor, and exactly those words are so freeing for ourselves, because he knows exactly how to help even our children or somebody else that we might be anxious for, to letting go and to let God, and to just have peace for everyone and their situation, and know that God's working on in their lives too, and to just breathe in that peace, breathe it in, and just let go and let God have the steering mechanisms of the ship, and know that it's going to put you underneath the water. It's going to put you on top of the water at times. It's going to bring you peace, and it's going to, but the peace that comes inside is totally with Christ.
Wow, beautiful. What a powerful way to end our call, is just knowing that you can pinpoint right at the very center of your being Christ. Just bringing that, if we just put a pinpoint right there on Christ, we know that our natural GPS system is going to draw us to that. And that word perfect has some negative connotations to it. That's all totally counterfeit. Any negative connotation would mean that we have to do it, that I have to make myself perfect. I have to do this so that I am perfect. But it's not true. If we just pinpoint Christ at the center of our being, then we are perfect, because he makes up the difference. And that natural draw that we all have the light of Christ within us. And if we put that pin right in the center of that light of Christ that's within all of us, that's where peace is. And that's where perfection is. We are made perfect through the blood of Christ, and having that pin on the light of Christ within us is what helps to that natural guidance system takes us to that place. It's not hard. It's not anything that we have to do. It's already been done for us. We just have to put that pin there and let our natural guidance system bring us in alignment. Thank you. Love you guys. Thank you so much. This has just been an awesome call. I appreciate everything that has been shared. It's just been wonderful to have you all here, and just to feel of your energy. So we will talk to you again tomorrow morning at 7 a.m. Mountain Standard Time. thanks again for being with us today. Love you guys.
Thank you. Love you too.
Thank you. Hey, thanks so much for listening. And I encourage you to tune in every day to the Daily Gratitude Call. And the Daily Gratitude Call happens live every weekday morning. I'd love to have you join. So to find out how to join live, go to my website, WileenBenson.com. Thanks for tuning in.